All right, Flannel, let's get into it. Brad Holmes makes the deal. He trades a third-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys for their first-round pick and actually was able to move up into the draft to get Terrion Arnold. And, Flannel, when you look at it, just kind of moving from where they moved from 29 on down to 24. But again, the total package, because I feel like it's being misrepresented a little bit, they went from 29 to 24. They gave up a third-round pick. The Lions got back a seventh-round pick. So that's the total trade value. In a day and age, by the way, where more sixth and seventh-round picks are playing ever in the history of the NFL, the draft chart says maybe it was a bit of an overpay, and get your thoughts in there in the Woodward Sports chat thread. But Flannel, I'll say this. Like for the draft chart people, which we use it as a tool, I just think you look at it from the standpoint of they had a chance to get the best corner in the draft, and they wanted to make sure that they got it done. That was their spot.
Yeah, and I just want to get this out of the way so that people don't accuse me of flip-flopping. Terrion Arnold wasn't my favorite corner of the ones available. However, Brad Holmes has forgotten way more about football than I'll ever know, so I'm going to choose to support and look at the things I like about Terrion Arnold, because there certainly are many, and he certainly has a high upside. My thought process with it all is that this cornerback room as constructed before Terrion Arnold was added to the picture was the type of cornerback room, although not terrible, and although there is some promise if a lot of things go right, could actually prevent this team from reaching their ceiling and winning the Super Bowl. And that's why I'm glad that they got Terrion Arnold. I think Brad Holmes understands that things are a little bit different when you have to pay an Amon-Ra St. Brown and pay a Penei Sewell and presumably pay Jared Goff. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he made the deals that he did. But there are the part of the GMing job that Brad Holmes is going to have to adjust to now is all of these great draft picks that he's made, who he keeps, who he pays, and it's going to make things a little harder moving forward, I think, to maintain sustained success, because all of those rookie contracts are phenomenal, but they're not always going to be able to be on rookie contracts. So I think, to me, it's very imperative that the Lions realize, and I think they do, that they could win the Super Bowl this year. Their Super Bowl window is now, and Terrion Arnold, I think he could be an upgrade over what they have. As I've said with their secondary room, there's a lot of questions. Carlton Davis, can he play 17 games? Recent history says no. Amik Robertson, is he a 17-game outside starter? Probably not. Emmanuel Mosley, will he ever effectively be an NFL player again? Who knows? 2 ACLs is tough. Kindle Vildor is Kindle Vildor. Brian Branch is more of a slot guy. So getting a guy like Terrion Arnold, who I'm not going to say that he shut down half the field, but when he was tested, I will give him this. When he was tested,
rose to the occasion.
He made more plays than he gave up. Did he give up a few? Did he get burned a few more times than I would like? Sure.
And Flannel, right there, yes. I'm going to cut you off for just 1 second. Like the whole Cooper DeJean crowd, right? They need to understand that. Because when you are playing in the SEC, look at the quarterbacks that are in the SEC. It's a different football game than what you see up here in the Big Ten. It just is. So when you look at it from that perspective, he's not sitting there hiding in a zone. Mm-hmm. He's a cornerback for Alabama, going up against arguably the best conference quarterbacks in college football on a day in, week out basis. You are going to give up plays when you are on the island. You just are. But, as you said, that's the key. He took away more than he gave up.
Out of all the cornerbacks in this draft, in terms of what they did this year, Terrion Arnold had the most interceptions. He had the most, I would say, ball-hawking moments this year. And that's one of the important characteristics. An interception and taking the football away is one of the most important things you can do on defense. Probably the most important thing. So that's why some of his, I would say, times where he was burned, he more than made up for it. And another thing about Terrion Arnold, and I just want to get this out there really, really quickly, because everybody knows I'm a big PFF guy, and I've also watched a lot of Alabama games. Metrically, there's not a cornerback in this draft that is better graded as a run defender. And you see when you watch him, he's not afraid to stick his nose in there and make some tackles and just like lay the wood. And here's the thing about the Lions defense, and I know I'm being a little long-winded, but even last year, even with some guys who struggled at other aspects, you had many players who were abnormally high graded as run defenders versus what else they did.
They were one of, if not the best rush defense in the National Football League. Like, that's a thing.
Yes, Jack Campbell was, Derek Barnes was, Brian Branch was, Kirby Joseph, Kendall Vildor, John Kaminsky, Josh Pascal, Aleem McNeil. These are all guys that were higher graded as run defenders than anything else that they did. And it all added up to an elite run defense. So do I think that played a role in Brad Holmes making that pick? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Well, and it does play a role in his value.
Absolutely it does.
And I do want to shout out this too. Our Lions beat reporter / sound guy today, Matt Broder. You look, I know you took some heat on social media from some folks, but you stood on business. You got your reports. You ran with it. You trusted the people you talked to, and look at to quote Al Pacino in Scarface. Look at you now, man. you were one of the few in this town that had it and had it right. So kudos to you.
Appreciate that. It's such a perfect fit from the player and the person standpoint. Once it gets past 18, which was that number where I put, that's where the Lions may consider moving up and going and getting him. The value he becomes the BPA. And a position of need at 24.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you, too, because you helped me out with that last night when I was doing the show, because once I got to 18, that's when I kind of dropped the draft chart into the show, and we started cooking, and we had hey, to get to 18, you got to give up a second. You going to do it? And the people, remember the people were split?
Yeah, they were.
They were split. But when you get to 20, 21, 22, that price falls to a third. And that was when, and that's why, like, through all this, right? With Brad Holmes, I honestly believe this, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him. He had a line in the sand where he was prepared to go in. He had his guy circled. He had his price circled, and that's where it was. And he got both of them. And when the time was there, it struck. Brent Keach says, slight overpay, but we also got the best corner, so I can't hate it. CT Squid, F the chart. We got our future CB1. MPWMU, Arnold is mid. Mitchell was the pick. MPWMU, Quiniam Mitchell. Look.
Uh-oh. Y'all done got him started.
And I didn't do this.
Yep.
For the record.
Get your shit off.
When I watch film and I see him grabbing every MAC wide receiver on every clip that I see of him making plays, and the only picks I see are him picking off Rocky Lombardi, I'm sorry, WMU. It doesn't do it for me. No disrespect to the MAC. The MAC, I like MAC football. There's no bigger champion for Tuesday night MACtion than me. I love it. I'm in, bro. Like, it's not hate. I'm just telling you what I saw, man, because that's what I saw. And I saw the games just like Sam Flannel saw the games. The Terrion Arnold move, that was the play. And it's Brad Holmes' guy. So immediately I'm in. But real quick, just for S's and G's, man, let's take a look at the draft chart then, shall we?
Yeah.
Because from where Detroit was at 29, there's about a 100-point difference in quote value. And guys, remember, this isn't the Bible. This isn't Sam's PFF. I'm not going to live on I'm not going to die on the sword for this. It's just a guideline to give you a feel. And it was a very, very fun tool last night to work with. The Lions pick in the third round, which was 73 overall that they traded, right? Had a 225-point value rating to it. Remember, I think that's why the Cowboys threw in the seventh. Mm-hmm. It's like seventh round picks they have no value on the draft chart. I think the draft chart's outdated though for that, because check the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl winning roster and tell me that 6th and 7th round picks don't matter.
Pacheco. Yeah.
But I digress. I move on. So was it a little bit of a slight overpay? The chart, yes. But how about this, guys? Humor me for a minute here. Broder, where did the people think that Terrion Arnold was going to go? For real.
Top 14.
Top 14.
Some top 12.
So I'll humor me. I'll say 15, right? Here's where it changes. And here's why it's not a slight overpay to me or I think to Brad Holmes. If you got your number 15 guy in the draft, and again, you consult the chart, Lions pick value 640, the number 15 pick, Indianapolis, 1,050. Now it becomes a value with what they did. You see, like, and this is nuance I try to work with you on, Sam Flannel. Like when you tell me AD's great, and then I look at him at the podium yesterday, just looking disinterested. Looked like he had a Soroki's T-shirt on, for Christ's sake. But anyway, here's the nuance of it, Flannel. He's operating in that space where I just got the 15th best prospect in this draft, and it fell to me, and I bet this, and I'll never know. I bet you Brad Holmes thinks he got a value to the draft chart people.
Of course, I'm sure he was surprised that Terrion Arnold fell. Honestly, if you're Brad Holmes, he probably had some backup plans because, as you said, Broder,
he had a backup plan to the backup plan. Make no mistake.
100%, because banking on Terrion Arnold to fall that far, that's not a winning move. However, he actually did.
Yeah.
And the Lions actually got him. The cornerback, like I said before, the position that I think was the weakest on the team in terms of preventing them from winning the Super Bowl this year was the cornerback position. And they just upgraded. And Terrion Arnold's the type of guy that, you know what I think about him? I think Terrion Arnold is the type of cornerback, given his upside, given his athleticism, but still some technique traits that you'd want to clean up a little bit. I'm thinking that a guy like Aaron Glenn, who was a former defensive back in the NFL, is looking at a guy like Terrion Arnold and just being like, I can mold this guy. I can sure up this guy's technique and make him that Pro Bowl cornerback one someday. Because he's got so much ability. They've
been waiting for him since they didn't take Devon Witherspoon at 6 last year.
Pretty
Since
much.
he went to the Seahawks, he was like, all right, I'm getting Gibbs and I'm getting Arnold next year. I maybe not that much of a stretch.
I'm getting N. Arnold next year.
Exactly. And they paid 2 third-rounders for their starting outside corners. That's a pretty good value to me.
No doubt about it. WoodwardSports.com chat thread, jump into there. DNC ENT, bro, your draft chart is way off. It's not close to accurate. DNC ENT, show me your chart then. Where you have the chart Bible then, right? Like this is Corinthians, round 1. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, DNC ENT, there is no 100% accurate draft chart. It's an idea. And by the way, it seemed accurate as hell last night. KG, you were doing the show.
Yeah.
We had it play by play.
It's more accurate than a lot of people's mock drafts.
That's what. Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you for that.
You know I got you.
We kind of predicted this, did we not?
We
Go
did.
back and watch the show.
We did.
Almost 20,000 of you watched it last night. Go back and watch the clips. We kind of, Broder brought this to the forefront.
Yeah.
I just kind of ran with it from there. But again, that's like when I talk about the financials, Flannel. It gives you a rough estimate of a direction. And that's what it was. Once your eyes are open to it, you can never unsee it.
I was just going to say that those draft charts, they remind me a bit of a Spotrac average annual value, or like estimated average annual value, or estimated value. It's the best guideline you have up until you see what actually happens. Sometimes they're way off, but sometimes they're spot on. And I would say more often than not, they're pretty accurate gauges, or at least stuff that's worthy to start conversations that aren't going to be outlandish. So yeah, I definitely appreciate your use of that, especially given the fact that the Lions actually did trade up.
Drew K, what free agents do the Red Wings keep? And that's a different way of addressing, what the Red Wings situation is, because it comes down to a simple question, D-Mac. Now that the dust has kind of settled and we're locked in and we took a look at them financially, they're in pretty good shape, especially assuming that they can get to work on Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond. What's the biggest need? And I understand that it's a loaded question because of what you and I discussed. The evidence, the proof, the goaltending situation will be ran back next year. It just will be. And I think Yzerman
seems that way with the writing's on the wall.
The writing's on the wall.
Right.
Best way to put it. And the reason I say that, D-Mac, is because Spencer Raxter's our resident farm system prospect insider. I just make him that.
Which, by the way, his guy Jonathan Berger last night, shootout winner in Iowa for the Grand Rapids Griffins, getting ready to come down. Eyeballed the whole crowd on the skate off. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Silky Johnson, my sister almost bought an El Mago jersey over the weekend. She doesn't know. RM Dole 19, am I the only one considering getting a Hooker jersey? Yes, you are. All right, but D-Mac, again, I think on surface when you ask the people that what's the biggest need, they're going to say goaltending or defense. But the goaltending thing, I honestly believe, is just going to be ran back until Kosa comes up. Because why? Because to get a goalie, a difference-maker goalie, D-Mac, it will take a significant prospect / draft capital investment. That's just the way that it works. There's only 8 of them in the NHL,
Yeah.
and they're not made available.
Right.
So
Right.
if I would tell you goaltending's the biggest need, D-Mac, I would then also say, I say that all fully knowing that that's not going to be
But goaltending's a
movement.
dividend right now because you have the 2 guys that are your future. You're looking to your future aren't ready yet, and they're probably another year away. So with the contracts and the way that Steve Yzerman's set it up with Billy Husso and Alex Lyon and stuff like that, that's why we say the writing is on the wall. We know it's an imperative need, but it's not going to be addressed unless he goes out and makes a deal. So to me, it's like there's a couple ways. Obviously defense, right? But that's just as hard as goaltending at times because people don't give away those prime defensemen. You also look in your farm system that you got guys, whether they're in Sweden or in the AHL, and the same as your goaltending, that are coming up but not ready yet. So my big thing is obviously you got to address the Raymond and the Sider. I think Patrick Kane, that conversation is a priority because, and I think at his age, the fact that he chose to be here, the fact that it worked out, I think that he wants to see this through. That's my vibe on it. But this is what I think. And that's why, like, with what they're going to do, let's wait and watch the playoffs. Because what always happens in the playoffs, there's always that guy, that line, those players that are that second tier that step up, right? And those are the guys to see if they're available, that those are the guys you either go make a deal for in the last year of their contract to give them a big contract or go get them as a free agent. So I think, but to me, I think it's that 1C. I think it's that firepower.
Which, which is along the lines of the goalie situation, though. They're not available.
But they do see
until they are.
Until they are, like Sam Reinhart, like in Florida, right? And a lot of these guys, what you hope for is look at other teams that have a couple guys coming up and they have to make a decision. Hence the Hossa Franzen situation. So do teams have to make those decisions where so to be a few days from the end of the season and NHL playoffs start already, that if you would say to me, we know what we need, but it's just, that's why playoffs are next year, whether the young kids are in or not, but it's like one more year of development and then it's sort of go time. But I'm looking at how I can add more firepower.
Also Tactile Puma. And look, I know that we had our differences kind of coming down the stretch and talking about collapse and stuff like that, but we're all here now. You know what I'm saying? We're in the off season now. So I think it's a good spot to kind of read. What's that?
Can I address this?
Sure. What do you got?
Gromit. D-Mac can't badmouth his bestest buddy.
Uh-oh.
I'll hold Steve Yzerman accountable when it deserves it. But you obviously, and I have to realize this, sometimes you guys aren't mentally capable to understand because I'm looking at progress. And I'm looking at the big picture. I collect cups. I only care about cups. I don't care about making playoffs, right? I care about winning. I think it's a blessing in disguise for this team, the way that they know that it came down to that they held themselves accountable all summer. I've been here. I've been here before where you fuck up, right? And it's on you. And your core is coming back. So that eats at you for the whole season and stuff like that. If Steve Yzerman deserves, in my opinion, to be questioned, then he can. We said that yesterday. You're not going to hit on every contract, right? The Justin Hall, you're gonna sit here or you gotta move forward and see what he's gonna do because that's what he's gonna do. So I don't say what you want, but you don't when you guys say stuff like that, you don't understand where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to paint the picture of where we're going. I don't care, and what happened to here. We're gonna address it. But the accountability is that, and if he doesn't, what did I say? If they don't make the playoffs next year.
Epic failure. It's a failure.
Epic, absolute failure. But I think that next year's when they get back in the playoffs and we build and we continue to grow and be one of these teams. We don't want to be Washington. We don't want to go in there and be handed to the Wolves. We want to have a fighting chance. And I think with the next year, that's where it is.
What do you got, Spenny?
I was just going to say, like, the whole Yzerman didn't do enough. What else do you want him to do? He traded for DeBrincat. He signed you Patrick Kane. He got you signings like Sprong, Confer, Lyon, guys that played big roles and big factors on this team. You bring up, I don't know, your two of your 4 best players on this team are draft picks of his in Lucas Raymond and Mo Sider. You bring up Simon Edvinsson that made a big difference, who is another draft pick of his. Like, are you mad that he didn't mortgage his whole farm system for a guy at the trade deadline just to make the playoffs? That's on you, because that's not what Yzerman's going to do. He's not worried about making the playoffs. He's worried about getting deep runs in the playoffs. So he's not going to trade away the guys he drafted that have proven to be good when they get to the NHL for one guy. Like, Gensel, did you want Gensel? They gave up a first-round pick, 4 prospects. And so, like, he's not going to do that for a rental player to just make the playoffs. I understand we're upset that we didn't make the playoffs, but they're building something. And the additions that he's made to this team, outside of maybe Hall and Petrie, have been great. And so you want to knock him on those 2, but not look at the 6 or 7 that he made that benefited this team? That's on you.
And there's tangible proof. Again, I got in the mix with somebody on social media, and all I do now, I have a default response that I want to program, and it's the picture of the 2019-2020 salary cap table. And that's what he walked into, man, with no prospects in the system. And I don't give a shit how pissed you are or anything like that. The bottom line, and you can't defeat this statement, there has been progress every step of the way. So what logic, what reason do you have to suggest that that's all just going to go away? There's none. There's none. And that's why it's different. Like, if you want to be upset with the Pistons, I can't fault you on that, right?
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been that progress that everybody expected. There hasn't been. So, like, for me, the Yzerman is the one you can't question. You can't. If this were the NFL and the way the draft works, then they would be on a trajectory like the Lions are. But the difference is you're taking an 18-year-old kid that won't be here for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, Sider and Raymond, like, just arrived. Like, we think Lucas Raymond just arrived this last couple months. That's the way it works. So, again, and as far as this, like, Paul Thomas says goaltending and coach. You want to talk about the coaching? My gut says that they're gonna ride. It's Yzerman's guy.
Yeah.
And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's shown me progress in every form, every fashion since he's taken the job. And if that makes you upset, then I can't help you. And if you come here looking for a hot take of, well, he's on the hot seat now, you're not getting it from me, dude, because I don't do that bullshit. I talk to you guys like people. I talk to you guys like I talk to my friends, like I'm sitting on a bar stool. I know it's probably not the best thing for the job industry, and it doesn't like get me 1.1 million clicks like if I sit here and trash Angel Hernandez, because it did and it does. But I'm just being real with you guys, man. They pay me here to tell you what I think. I'm around sports. This is what I think. And I've got logic and reason to back it up. I know that's not good enough for some of you, but, whatever, that's what it is. We got one more Red Wings thing to get to, then we're moving on, all right? I want to have the Sider and the Raymond discussion.
I don't get, maybe it's me, but like Mark Royal, we all are disappointed in the fact that we all wanted to make the playoffs, but the fact is that we're here and we came up short. So now what do? And instead of we're making excuses no, these are the facts that it's progress and it takes time. It's not the NFL.
Yeah.
Where it's the quick turnover. It takes
Works
time
the
to be able
first.
to do it well. Does anybody not listen when Steve Yzerman comes out and says, Easy had a great tweet yesterday, right? The fact that Steve Yzerman said, we're not ready. It's building and building because it's a foundation to get back. Yeah. Is anybody here not disappointed it didn't make the playoffs where it is?
Yeah, we all
Right?
are.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world. If you guys act like this right now and not making the playoffs, God forbid when you lose in the playoffs, what it's going to be like. And I can't help you because, some of you in here, hey, it's the reality to me. Tell me you're a casual without telling me you're a casual. I get it. So it doesn't really matter because I'm not I guess I'm not talking to them, or we're not talking to them, Neal. We're trying to talk to the fans that understand and are disappointed, and it sucks. What are we going to go from here? How is Steve Yzerman going to continue to climb that ladder?
And I'm just trying to tell you, based on the pages that are out there, kind of read the tea leaves a little bit, how I think it's going to go. I don't think they're going to make a goaltending move. And that's going to piss a lot of people off.
They can't.
But what are they going to do?
What's the goaltending move to make?
I know.
Here, trade Raymond and somebody else and somebody else and go get what?
Trade Raymond and Kosa, because that's what it's going to take. Like, think about that, guys. The NFC North nickel package, right, Spenny?
Correct.
Right, Spenny? First
question of the NFC North nickel package. What team in the division has improved the most?
It's funny to me because I think on surface, if you look at needs, if you just stop it with needs and addressing needs, parlayed with what they already have, I think would have to be the Lions, right, on paper. Now, I know that's not like the sexy pick, and that's not what a lot of people would say, right, because that's just common sense, and common sense never sells. Like, over-the-top bullshit sells. So some people would say, well, the Chicago Bears, because they got Caleb Williams. They also had 4 picks, and one of them they used to take a punter. So, like for me, I think pound for pound in terms of addressing needs and improving the most, because what's the hardest thing to improve? Playoff division championship to a Super Bowl winner. So I would think if you're going on the value system, I would say it's the Lions. But I know people are just going to say Green Bay because that's what they do.
No, I'm actually going to go with the Lions as well. And for the record, I think the Packers, Bears, and Vikings all improved to some extent. However, last season, there was a lot of question marks on that defensive line, especially when Aleem McNeil was out. You brought in DJ Reader. You brought in a bookend edge rusher who's had some success in Marcus Davenport. You've at least attempted to revamp your secondary. Give yourselves more, I would say, cracks at it just in case some guys go down. You brought in Amik Robertson. You drafted Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. And also, I think you upgraded at guard for cheaper. So those are all of the moves, amongst others. I might be forgetting about some, but those are the big moves that I think will be a huge difference in this team. I could see this team, just going off of the defensive moves, being a top 15 scoring defense this year. And if they're that, that's one of the only things that's missing. So I'm going to go with the Lions as well, just based off of what they've already done. And I think what they did in free agency in particular, and even drafting secondary, was borderline brilliant.
Interesting reaction from the chat. Real cream of wheat, Bears, Andrew Jones. Thanks, man, after your Hall of Fame baseball career. Thanks for checking out Big D Energy. Hard to say. On paper, the Bears. Dad with Tourette's. Packers or Bears. So the Bears are getting a lot of love. But again, I'm not a huge Roma Dunze guy the way that everybody else is. And it's funny because we crush the Pac-12 around here, right? It's like a rite of passage with Midwest football fans. But the Bears get 2 dudes out of the Pac-12 and they're like saved. I'll believe it when I see it.
I mean, there were arguably the 2 best players in the Pac-12 last year. So, and I think, let's move on, because there's another question in which we're going to address those 2 guys exactly.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right, next question of the NFC North nickel package. Is Justin Jefferson's contract the number 1 priority for the Vikings?
I think so, man, because, what else you going to do? He's got all the power. All the power, because he can just not sign and walk.
Yeah, the Justin Jefferson situation is tough because, it's hard to be a fan of somebody who plays in your division, but I respect his game a lot. He's had the greatest 4-year start to occur any wide receiver has ever had. If he has a couple more dominant years, he could be a 6-season NFL Hall of Famer. So respect to that. And I think he's one of the major reasons why I would say J.J. McCarthy has a optimal situation, or a more optimal than most situation, coming in as a rookie. However, the Vikings, despite all of that, not his fault, haven't won a damn thing. His quarterback he's gotten all of his success with is no longer there, and they're kind of starting over with a rookie in J.J. McCarthy. Not the most ideal situation for a superstar wide receiver. And furthermore, those Ferrari wide receivers, and I love Justin Jefferson. I love a lot of them. A lot of the times, are they really the difference between a Super Bowl and not? I mean, I can give you an example. Terrell Owens never won a Super Bowl. Again, not his fault. Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl. The Patriots won 6 without him and 0 with him. Antonio Brown, the Steelers won 2 Super Bowls before him and none with him. Not his fault. The defenses, I think, were better, led by guys like, Troy Polamalu and James Harrison, Joey Porter, Alan Faneca, offensive line, and all of that. And Calvin Johnson, let's get it closest to home. Calvin Johnson never won anything with the Lions, and it wasn't his fault. Look at the classes that were drafted after years in which the Lions made the playoffs. That will give you a clue into why Calvin Johnson never won anything here. It's just, there's so many other pieces that I think are usually more important and more pivotal to a Super Bowl team than that superstar Ferrari receiver. Don't get me wrong.
Then you got to trade him.
Maybe you do.
Like, this is as real as it gets for them. This is a seminal moment for their franchise.
Yeah.
Because either you're giving him $35 million a year, because it's been made apparent he will hold out for every single dollar that he can get. And I don't blame him. Like, this is the contract that sets you free in your life for generations. I don't blame him. The NFL, man, I'll never begrudge somebody that's trying to juice every single dollar they can get. But the Minnesota Vikings have to make a decision. Mm-hmm. Either you are doing this with him and you're going forward, or you have to trade him because he can walk.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not disrespecting Justin Jefferson or anything. All of the guys that I just mentioned, I love every single one of them. Calvin Johnson's one of my favorite football players of all time. It's just, I'm looking at past history, and I'm looking at, is this Vikings team ever going to win a Super Bowl with Justin Jefferson? It's to be said, but with him being as great as he's been, the Vikings have not put a team around him or constructed a team that could win a Super Bowl while he was here. Could win a playoff game for that matter. They won a fluke division, and that's about it.
Woodward Sports chat poll. What is more likely to explode, Jamison Williams next season or Sam Flannel's neck vein?
Oh, that's a good one.
So make sure you jump in. Make sure you jump into that.
Definitely the neck vein.
Danny G. Amon-Ra does it all and is not an asshole. He's exactly what you need at wide receiver. Tell the Vikings fans that, because they disagreed with me when I said it. But when Danny says it, it's okay. The Vikings fans probably won't get mad. But when I say it, they bring out the torches and come after me on social media. But I don't care because Twitter's not a real place. All right, let's go.
Danny G. Shout out Danny G. Said, Spenny, that's flawed question because if JMO explodes, Flannel's neck vein will as well.
Nice. That's the best comment that we're going to get today because it's true. Remember the watch party in the game against Tampa Bay when JMO put that game away and Sam Flannel had that look on his face where he was like, he was mad. Yeah, he was mad about it.
I wasn't mad. Probably the same as you guys whenever Aiden Hutchinson got a sack.
I'm fan of it.
Now I'm talking these two.
I don't hate Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I don't. I know. I want more.
I just want him to be elite. That's all. He's great right now. He needs to be elite.
There you go. Absolutely.
All right, next question of the NFC North nickel package. The Athletic says the Bears had the best draft, and they are true challengers to the Packers and Lions this year. Are you agreeing with that?
Well, yeah, they got a punter. You know, they took a fourth round pick, used a punter. There's no doubt in my mind that the Bears planted their flag. They got a franchise quarterback and a franchise punter in the same draft. You will go back in the annals of NFL history and probably view this Bears draft in much the same that was a 72 draft from the Steelers where they took 4 Hall of Famers. It will probably be along the same line. They are true challengers. They have arrived. The Chicago Bears, Mike Ditka, the mid-'80s, bring Super Bowl shuffle in Chicago. There's no question in my mind. You take a punter in the 4th round, you are to be celebrated.
He was the last piece.
You are here. The Chicago Bears are on our doorstep. And Lions fans, I want you to get comfortable being uncomfortable with the Chicago Bears in this division. Clearly with their 4th round kick that was a punter, or 4th round pick that was a punter, clearly they are a force in this division.
Well, okay. Now that that's out of the way, it has a chance to be a great draft. It all depends on Caleb Williams, obviously. If Caleb Williams is that franchise quarterback, if he's that Pro Bowl, All-Pro type, which you expect your number 1 overall quarterback to be, then it was a great draft. And you also pair him with your fellow rookie contract pass catcher to add to a pass catching room that has a lot of really, really good veterans. And they They addressed the offensive line, a guy who could play both guard and tackle, and I think Austin Booker in the 5th round was actually a pretty damn good pick, given for his value, although if I were them, I would have addressed the edge position a little bit sooner. The punter thing, I don't necessarily agree with, but here's the one thing that I will say. I'm not justifying it. Torrey Taylor's the best college punter I've ever seen. You wanted to draft Jake Moody last year in the 3rd round. I'm just saying. Torrey Taylor made it possible so that Iowa won football games. I know it was kind of a really stupid slogan and everything, but however, Torrey Taylor would flip field position and let the defense led by guys like Jack Campbell, Cooper DeJean, and Lucas Van Ness just eat because they had no offense, obviously. Not justifying it, I'm just saying he is the best college punter I've ever seen.
Jack Fox, move over.
Yeah.
Not saying Jack Fox.
There's a new sheriff in town at the punter position in the NFL. And he resides in Chicago.
Damn right.
I mean, maybe they want to create their own Jack Fox. Again, I don't necessarily agree with the pick. If you're going to take a punter, take an all-time great college one. And I think that he is.
Yeah. Bronco 81. Neal hates a punter, but wanted Jake Moody. What round did Jake Moody get drafted in?
Jake Moody got, was it 5th?
Yeah, I believe so.
3rd.
Okay, 3rd. Okay. Yeah. You wanted Jake Moody. They wanted Torrey Taylor in the 4th.
Okay. Let me know how it works
so
out.
I guess one would have been the smartest move ever, and one is off the handle stupid. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
One scores points.
I understand.
The other one punts, and he punted at Iowa. And the reason he was so good is because he was so warm during a game. You don't get as many possessions in an NFL game. You don't get to punt 12 times to get warmed up the way he did at Iowa.
Hey, he did have to punt a lot. However, I know it was the Big Ten West and everything, but since they had no offense, they needed to flip field position and rely on their defense.
All right, what do we got?
Next question of the NFC North nickel package. The Packers took Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt in the 7th round. He started 44 games and had 90 passing touchdowns in his career. What do you make of this move?
Clearly, it's a quarterback controversy. Clearly, the Green Bay Packers are not satisfied with what Jordan Love has been doing, and they're putting pressure on him by saying, "Hey, you don't want to sign this contract." I've heard that Love and the Packers are, quote, far apart on their contract talk.
No deal is imminent.
No deal is imminent. It's never going to happen. And they drafted a quarterback in the 7th round. So I think that tells you, hey, and this Tulane quarterback, didn't he outduel Caleb Williams in a bowl game? Did he not?
He did.
Did he?
Yes.
So clearly something's going on. Where's Adam Schefter? Get him on the phone. Tell him there's something happening in Green Bay right now in the quarter. There's a quarterback controversy with the Packers.
Neal, why do you do this to me? Because I'm not a Jared Goff hater. However, implying that Hendon Hooker being drafted in the 3rd round off of an injury when he would have been a higher round draft pick and the Packers getting a 7th rounder as a flyer is the exact same thing is lunacy. It's the false equivalencies of this cup and grass. I know it's random, but that's the first thing I could think of of my mind.
Clearly it's a quarterback controversy.
Well, no, it's not.
Real quick, we got to wrap this one up.
All right, final question. The NFL on Fox released their way too early NFL playoff predictions. They had the Lions as the 3 seed, the Packers as the 5 seed, and the Bears as the 7 seed. Can this division get 3 teams into the playoffs?
No. That is NFL on Fox has been on one. That whole thing too with the Eagles, as the best team in the NFC and all that kind of stuff. Do we just forget what happened last year with the Eagles? You notice we've done that?
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, I don't even remember what happened with the Eagles.
Epic collapse.
They collapsed last year.
Epic,
and I guess that's not the fabric of the question. I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. But no, this division's not going to get the Bears in the playoffs.
No.
Can we slow down a minute, everybody, with the draft thing? Can we pump the brakes for a minute? The Bears in the playoffs.
I mean, you were ready to crown him when Justin Fields was there and Caleb Williams is better, but that's neither here nor there, and we shall see. But I think
No, I wasn't ready to crown them.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't. I said they had the building blocks in place. They had a quarterback with an elite trait. That's what I said.
Well, his elite trait is throwing it in the dirt. But and running, but let's move on. Move on from something I created. I think the Rams will be a wild card team. I think the Cowboys will be, and then the Packers. And then you could even say the Bucks or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be fighting for a wild card spot as well. So no, there will be 2 NFC North teams in the playoffs next year.
So we got some I'm gonna say breaking news on the Jared Goff contract. And Broder, this is where I'll lean on you a little bit. I find this to be breaking news because I've not heard one person talk about this before. But Broder, I was perusing the details of the Jared Goff contract, and I'm talking about like the details.
All right.
Have posted, and you guys know I'm a big Spot Track simp. Shout out Spot Track. The fine folks over there have kind of posted the breakdown of it. Now I know what you read was 4 years, $212 million, 170 million guaranteed, right? So we heard, right, Broder?
Yeah.
We're cool. We're with that. All right. As far as what the practical guarantees are, what the money more than likely will end up being, and just to give you the baseline, Terry, you know this. You've been in media a long time. The agents love to put out there 4 years, $212 million.
Mm-hmm.
They love that. Absolute max value of the contract can be.
That's how they make their business.
That's how they make their business. The practical guarantees of it are 4 years, $193.5 million. That is more than likely what the contract will end up being when it's all said and done.
Okay.
Through bonus options and things like that, it can get to the full 212. But for all intents of real life application, Jared Goff will be 4 years, $193.5 million, which is about a $48.25 million salary when you break it all down.
Okay, so
now,
why you hating?
What's that?
So why you hating?
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I didn't hate it at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people
The people
did,
were hating. I was not hating.
And look, they got what they wanted. Some with a 4 in front of it.
And that's it. And then the number two thing about all of this, by the way, when you talk about percentage of cap, and that's the big thing that everyone's like, oh, you can't sign this guy. In terms of percentage of cap, he will slot right around 10th in the league. So what's the problem?
Here's the problem. People are stupid.
Okay. Moving on. Next topic.
Simple as that.
So when I want to know to the people out there, does that make you feel differently for the Goff haters? And I know because there's a lot of Stafford people. You guys sent me pictures with Stafford holding a Super Bowl trophy and said, quote, suck it, Neal. Like I care what he did when he went to the Rams.
Right.
You guys did. I didn't have a Detroit Rams t-shirt. You did. But I would imagine you are the same people.
Yeah.
The Stafford lovers morph into Goff haters. I would imagine you guys run one in the same. But whatever. Does that make you feel differently about it? For all intents and purposes, the practical application of this contract will be 4 at 193 and some change in 48 per year. Does that change anything for you, Terry?
No. I was okay with the contract, even if it was 212. Here's what people don't understand, because we haven't had a real football team here in Detroit. They don't understand. If you have good players, guess what? You pay them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they're going to be perceived as being overpaid. The reason the Lions have never been in this situation is most of the players they draft don't make it. They end up in New England or Miami or whatever, and they stink here. But when you draft well, you're going to have to pay people. The other thing that people here believe, oh, why don't they give them the hometown discount? There's no such thing as a hometown discount in professional sports. You got the agents, you got the NFLPA, you got other players looking at what you're signing for. You can't. I mean, if Jared Goff, let's say Jared Goff wanted to sign for $35 million a year, they wouldn't let him do it. The NFLPA would say, no, because we got to get these salaries
His
up.
agent wouldn't let him do it either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Neal, you getting some pushback from Easy. He said, tell Neal to check 2026.
2026. Yeah, when he's 23.8% of the cap right now.
Damn.
Right now.
This year.
Now.
Yeah, this year.
Damn.
What will the cap be at the time? See, I know Easy's like OTC greater than. No, Spot Track is goated.
Yeah.
Now I know Easy likes it because it's right away.
Selling cars, brothers. Stop.
Because it's right away and it pops up right away.
Yeah.
There's no league certified details to it. That's what Easy deals in. That's what he's about. That's fine. No, hey, that's fine. They've got a great audience. They're an asset to Woodward Sports.
Absolutely.
There's a market
Heavies.
for what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. I'm not a hater.
Here's the question you need to ask. If you're upset with the contract, what's the alternative? Hendon Hooker?
Yes.
For some people, yeah.
For some people, yes. And I'm not talking one or two.
Crackheads,
I'm talking like a real
crackheads.
segment.
I know.
More on that in the nickel package, by the way. So we will certainly get into that. So, yes, as it sits right now, he's at 23.8% of the cap now. However, when you get to that year, and man, I'm trying to figure, has it been a good year from a revenue perspective for the NFL?
Oh, great.
Well, they made a couple bucks.
Did
And they're
they?
going to make more
on Christmas
from streaming and all kinds of stuff. They'll come up with other advertisement or revenues that we don't even know about.
Absolutely. So for all intent, think of it like this, because this is factual. And for the easies of the world, I know you have a hard time digesting facts. 4 years, $193.6 million with 14.6 dead cap. You can almost think of that as a pseudo void year.
Right.
Because that's the remnants of the signing bonuses. So, by the way, they updated his cash number. You know how much cash Jared Goff is going to make this year?
$2.2 million.
$108 million in cash.
Well, I think his cap hit was $2.2 million.
Yeah.
His total cap will be 27.2 because it's a piece of the signing bonus that's added to the $2 million salary.
And the best part about all this, you can still restructure the contract.
And that's how it will work, everybody. When it gets down to the end, they will keep them and restructure.
Yep. I'm thinking around 2025, 26.
Or
maybe.
they'll cut it out and have their other move at quarterback.
Yeah.
Or they'll keep it pushing. So that's what I'm telling you. This contract will be at 193. It will be. So
if he gets that far. But here's the thing that teams do is, let's say 2026, if the Lions are saying, hey, we're not getting the bang for our buck, they release his ass. See ya. Windows in the NFL is not a 10-year window. It's not an 8-year window. It's not a 15-year window. You got a 2 or 3 year window. You better do it in that time because you may not get another chance. So by 2026, the Lions could be saying, we don't want Jared Goff. Get your ass out of town. Don't let the door hit you.
They could, in theory.
They have that option.
right.
Yeah.
So that could very well happen. And I'm fine with that.
Easy. P.S. I broke down why the contract was a win-win yesterday. How can it be a win for you, Easy? You said Goff stinks. I'm confused.
Hey, you got to talk to him, man. He said you spreading propaganda, so.
I'm just asking. Yeah. I'm confused.
I feel you.
He's like, you don't use facts. I felt like I just gave some factual stuff. But whatever, Terry. You know,
he lets emotion get in the way. He's still a cute kid.
he most certainly is, everybody. He most certainly is still a cute kid. We love him. 5 to 7, by the way.
Of all the people that work at Woodward Sports, Easy has the cutest little cheeks of anybody that works here.
You just want to.
He does. Now look at him. Look at his little cheeks.
Oh, that's funny. Y'all got to leave Easy alone, man. That's my guy. That's my guy, man.
And you know what? Next time you see him and you look at his cheeks, tell me I'm lying.
I'm not looking at another man's cheeks. I'm sorry.
Leave Easy alone. Wasn't he the one who put out the diss track attacking Neal and Stick?
Yeah, Drake put out diss tracks too. They were one and the same.
Yeah.
He was the Drake of the diss track.
Are you gonna start putting out diss tracks on each other?
No.
No, Neal ain't getting.
I just give you facts and then I keep it pushing. All right. So here we go. Sauce tin. Dan Campbell addressing the media at OTAs. Dan Campbell calls Jamison Williams the most improved player in the offseason.
Oh.
Quote, he's a man on a mission. I'll leave it at that.
Stop it.
Unquote.
Stop it right now, Neal.
So the time has come for the Sam Flannels of the world and the rest of you in the chat that no more than 5 months ago, we're calling this man a bust? Acknowledge me. Okay. Keep keep that same energy, everybody. There's a reason that no moves were made at the receiver spot. No grand moves were made at the receiver spot. You know why? Because they got a star at that spot. And I'll double down. I'll triple down. The man gets a touchdown about every 9 times he touches the ball. Not bad for a bust.
Not bad.
And he can't control how many times it goes to him. But what does that tell you? 9's getting the football.
Right.
And when he does, you're going to be on the edge of your seat. When he does, the hair on your arm's going to start to stand because J-Mo's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, D-Mac, he's going to be electric. And I'll tell you this, get him in your fantasy drafts, get him out there because Jameson Williams is here now. He's, quote, the most improved player in the offseason.
That's a strong
That's
quote.
from your. That's
He's
from
a
your
man on the mission.
head
That's
coach.
a strong quote.
That's from your head coach,
Love to
right?
hear
So
it,
I'm
bro.
gonna refrain, right? Because did Sam have this new information of what Dan Campbell said? Because Sam's the one with new information. He can change his opinion, so you can hold him to the fire tomorrow. But the fact is, how many times have we seen this in sports? Younger guys come in, maybe a little immature. Right, the fact that he was injured and he had a lot of time on his hands maybe didn't give to the truest professional that he could be. Last year, what Dan Campbell said, he adhered himself to the herd. Now, what's Dan Campbell telling you? Man, he's going to be leading this herd.
Yeah.
Right? And what is that? How good does that make your team? Does this have anything to do with why Dan Campbell would say, I think it's more Super Bowl than bust? Because your hardest worker, your most improved guy is your Ferrari, is that speed, is that outside? What is it? What do you guys think? What is everybody thinking right now? When he's saying that, because you already have the hardest working player that you just paid,
Yeah.
and Amon-Ra St. Brown, that everybody says, well, you can't pay him because he's not a number one, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't care who's one, who's two. You got a deep threat. You got different threats. You got a short threat. You got everything else. You nailed it, Neal, as far as why wasn't there big moves made? Guys coming in the wide receiver because you know what? This kid has taken whatever he's been challenged with, right, from last season and proven that he wants to be here. He wants to be a part of this leadership group with all these young kids coming in and stuff like that. God bless, that Alabama dog, right? Culture, you're talking about it?
Yes, sir.
All those young Alabama kids and whatever like that, you don't think they hold each other accountable to whatever coach wants?
And like
This is the great. You don't want Penny Sewell. You don't want Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporte, all these guys. You want to hear it's Jameson Williams and stuff like not even Brian Branch, your hardest worker. Who else would you want the coach to come out and say, hey, guys, oh, by the way, this guy, proud of him.
And like you said, D-Mac, hearing that from Dan Campbell, that's
It's
exactly
different.
what I want to hear. He's not just out there saying that for shits and giggles.
When's he ever been on bullshit?
He hasn't. We've even gone as far as he's criticized J-Mo openly in the media.
Yeah.
And we all took that and ran with it like, oh, what's wrong with J-Mo? If Dan Campbell's saying that, that means something.
Don't tell me what, tell me who.
Yep.
Don't tell me what was said, tell me who said it. It's easy. It's an easy way to live life.
Dos Burrito, F off flannel. I think that's aggressive. That's a little aggressive.
But we'll see tomorrow.
Because it was in all caps. That's why it was aggressive.
Well, that
Yeah.
that might have been my bootleg account.
No, absolutely. Hoof-hearted. Man, guys, I can only get so erect. No, we're going all the way through.
Yeah, I see that.
We're going all the way through.
Listen, it goes Joy Mode, Blue Chew, Viagra, Detroit Lions. Let's go. And isn't it apropos that it's Honolulu Blue?
Yes.
I'm just saying.
That's facts.
It is.
Absolutely. Matt Kruger, bust. He's got to prove it to me. Okay, Matt Kruger.
Yeah.
I mean, he does every
And
one
that
out
is-
of every
and-
nine
no, no.
catches is a touchdown.
And that
man.
is- and
one out of
that-
every 4 rushes is a touchdown.
Neal,
Like,
that's fair.
It is fair.
That's fair, but the coach just came out and said, to everybody else, you will be proven. Please stay tuned.
So there it is. And now, hey, I would tap into Big D Energy tomorrow because you best believe me and Sam Flannel are going to have a sit down
Oh, yeah.
about number 9.
Have a nice little talk.
And we're going to put it out there. We're going to have a little chat, everybody. Let's just say it like that. And it may get spirited, it may not. Who knows?
See, I love this, right? Oh, he's got bad hands. He's immature. He was immature. He has had some drops, but improvement means, like, I can't help if people don't listen, and especially from who says it. So everybody should just shut the fuck up right now and wait and see until he drops a ball or until you don't see improvement or whatever like that.
Best player on the field in the NFC Championship game.
Electric.
Damn right.
That's what you're going to get, that electricity.
Debate it. In the biggest game in Lions history, who was the best Lion on the field?
It was J-Mo, without a doubt.
Who was the most electric on the field?
You were only in that game because of J-Mo, really. So,
like, debate it. You can't. You can't. Who looked like they belonged the most? Who was the big play threat out there on that field?
Mm-hmm.
Who matured the most in front of your eyes in the last, from whatever else? And I get the bus conversation.
I don't.
6, 7, 8 months ago, the ones that were saying, I need more. How can you move on?
Because I saw the man on the field.
I get it, Neal. But we're talking about people that don't see it, that are only passing by and stick to the narrative to whatever. You can give the argument because the results weren't there, right? It's the PFF fan thing. But the fact is what you heard throughout the season of how he worked, and you listen. Like, I can't help if you don't take into the fact that the coach says he's endeared himself to the herd. The herd has welcomed him in. And he's taken that. And there's an acceptability. I can't help if people don't understand how big that sort of culture is.
Brandon Katz, Jamison Williams did nothing in the fourth quarter when the Lions needed him the most. Jamison Williams caught a touchdown.
You're right. What are you talking about?
On fourth down.
Yeah, I think
that kept you alive.
Yeah, that's scoring points, catching touchdowns. I think that's the most important.
He also said that's a bad take by Neal. Williams almost never gets the ball. But those numbers that I give you that are right here in front of me, that are factual, then who's that on?
Yep.
J-Mo or the coaches?
I got a question. When you hear something about improved and hard work and stuff like that, does that not mean that maybe you'll be even more in the game plan?
No, D-Mac. That's irrational. That's illogical. And that is quite simply not true. Ha ha. It's 9 season, bro.
Yeah, it is.
9 game.
There's a new number 9 in town.
There's one that's going to go to the rafters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's aggressive. I know.
It's a little aggressive, but,
But you know what?
J-Mo going to boo them kids.
There's a 9 in town that's won playoff games.
Oh, that's true.
And played an NFC Championship game.
That's true.
I'm glad he's keeping 9.
Neal, you spitting right now.
I'm glad he kept 9. I wonder if that played a part. If it was just me and J-Mo walking down the street, I'd say, hey, did the Stafford thing make you want to keep 9? Low key.
Probably.
Oh, talk to me, KG. Talk to me.
Hey, man. It's a new number 9 in town.
There's a new number 9 in town. By the way, Pro Football Focus. Now, we'll use it because it fits our narrative for this, right? That's how Pro Football Focus works. It's like the ultimate narrative tool.
Yep.
Right? You notice that?
Pretty much.
Oh, for sure.
Pretty much.
It is like the cable news of football.
Fit your narrative.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam started it.
Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
Fit your narrative
Shout out
segment
Flynn.
coming up.
Now, we like this one, though. Pro Football Focus, top 25, under 25.
Yes.
Pretty much the Detroit Lions.
Lions have 5 in them. We can start with the lowest rated one.
Let's lowest rated one. Jameer Gibbs.
With Bijan over him.
Yes.
Bijan is at what, 16?
Bijan was over him, yes.
Crazy take.
Okay.
And then next on the list,
Oh, we got next. Sam Laporta.
Damn right.
number 19.
You would figure that.
Top 3 tight
I did
end.
like this one, though. In addition, his overall and receiving grades are second only to Kyle Pitts' rookie season. Was that the year he had like 1,000 yards and 1 touchdown or whatever it was?
Yeah.
With a dead Matt Ryan at quarterback, the corpse of Matt Ryan, yes.
I'll never understand the Kyle Pitts love.
Yeah.
Never
He made
understand.
the list. He's number 25.
Yeah, he's 25.
You can argue Brian Brett should have been there.
He made the list.
He made the list.
He's a bum.
He's a bum.
Get him out of
I
here.
think he's going to be really good this year.
I know.
Next,
I know.
next up,
Every year.
Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 11
Number 11, huh?
with Garrett Wilson ahead of him.
Trash list.
Garrett
This has
Wi-
become a trash list quickly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Trash.
What's Garrett Wilson rank?
Garrett Wilson was 10.
9.
9.
He was 9.
Yeah, he's 9.
You know what? Like it's the same thing as what you're talking about.
You're going off
You're gonna
potential.
get a little bit disrespect until you finish it off. Like if you win to whatever else like that. And I know that Garrett Wilson, but he
It's
was
not even
drafted.
about that. It's substance versus potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have Amon-Ra substance, and they're going off Garrett Wilson potential. Like
That's a great point too, and maybe that's like the PFF figure narrative secret.
yeah,
They're big on potential, not what we know, but what we think we know.
I don't get it with the Amon. I still don't get it with the Amon-Ra St. Brown
But I love that. You know why I love that?
because he hates it.
Because he's gonna see the list now. He's gonna put the top 10 guys ahead of him that are under 25 now. So he's got his wide receivers list that he's cutting down. Now he's gonna cut down to be. He's gonna be. I can just see him training camp. Hey Sam, you're only 19, bud. You're only 19. They think this guy's better. They think these guys are better. You know what I'm saying? Hey Branchy, can't even make top 25. Yeah, you know what? And they go, yeah, you're 11. Oh, you don't think I don't know? Got this guy. Let's see who's ahead of him. Like this is a motivating factor for all these guys. It makes me laugh. Because it's not true. Redo this list, not with PFF,
But with
general managers.
Yeah, and I would think it would look a lot different.
So let's keep going.
No, let's stop for a second here.
Right.
Because the Amon-Ra St. Brown stuff, D-Mac, I'll never understand. Like this national narrative against him and things like that. Who was in front of him? Chris Olave?
Yep. No. Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson was in front. Like, when are we going to take a look at what people do?
exactly.
Look at what he did.
He's an All-Pro in 3 years.
in 3 years.
First team All-Pro.
First team All-Pro, got the contract, flipped a franchise, by the way, and not just any franchise, the Lions franchise. Like, when is he going to be talked about like that for what he's done?
Neal,
D-Mac,
here's hoof-hearted nailed it. Amon-Ra had a 90-plus PFF rating last season. Garrett Wilson had a 72. And they put Wilson over Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though their own freaking grading system says it's otherwise. Kenny nailed it.
Yeah.
It's what we think. PFF is what we project to know, not what we legitimately know. So just take it for what it is. Take it for what it is, Neal. It's not right. And you know what? But here's the thing, right? All you should care about is if something like this, how does your players react to this, right? Do they mope? Do they pout?
No,
of
course not.
No,
This list is
absolutely not.
meaningless.
This is more bulletin board material. I wouldn't be surprised if this list isn't hanging up in Amon-Ra St. Brown's locker.
Yeah.
So we can look at it every day. Like this is, keep going, PFF. Keep firing my guys up. Keep motivating because this is the best. Because at the end of the day, Neal, we'll get the last laugh because you know why? It's on the field. And he's going to go out there and be even better than that last year. So they just showed you, hoof-hearted just proved how PFF is a fucking joke.
And we have constant examples of this. And this is yet another one there. And look, it's a PFF list. I shouldn't get this worked up about it. But I do about the St. Brown stuff. And the reason I do is that shit with the Vikings fans before and all that kind of stuff. And oh, by the way, Amon-Ra St. Brown, not only is he one of the best players under 25, he's one of the best at his position. And guess what? His deal is done. He's not holding out of OTAs like some of the other receivers that we talk about that everybody loves so much and thinks are so great.
I wonder who said that.
I don't know.
Justin
I don't know who
Jefferson
brought
out
that
of
up before.
OTAs.
This is what I was talking about with the gimme St. Brown over the Justin Jefferson stuff. This is exactly what I was talking about. What did Amon-Ra St. Brown do? Sign the deal, shows up to work, goes to work, puts up numbers. Part of a core that has flipped the Detroit Lions franchise around, changed an entire culture of losing that was going on forever. He's directly responsible, one of the main players in that renaissance. But tell me more about it. Tell me more about, oh, he's number 11 and there's two receivers ahead. Like, stop with that stupid shit, Pro Football Focus, please.
Right.
Please stop with it.
And then if you're going to come that way, come with Justin Jefferson. He's 24. I understand they probably didn't put him on the list because of injury, but Justin Jefferson, fine. But Garrett Wilson, I'm sorry, man.
Garrett Wilson.
I can't do it.
Dude,
Garrett
he just
Wilson.
told you that he was 90 plus their own rating system.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll play devil's advocate.
Please do.
I like Garrett Wilson a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like what Kenny said, they're basing it off his projection. Like, he had, 700-something yards last year catching balls from Zach Wilson and whoever else was the quarterback of that team throughout the year. I can't even remember who it was. I know it wasn't Mike White, but
Yeah.
If you put Garrett Wilson with a competent quarterback, I believe he'll be like a 1,200-yard receiver. I don't think he's better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think he's really good.
Okay. So you're doing it off a projection of a quarterback that's over 40 coming off an Achilles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, book him. 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns.
Shouldn't it be-
100%. There's no way it doesn't happen.
It should be PFP, Pro Football Projection, instead of Pro Football Focus.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What has he done? What has Amon-Ra St. Brown done?
They also got Trevor Lawrence at number 3 on this list.
All right. We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
You don't want to see the rest of them?
No, I don't. I don't give a shit.
You'll
I'm
really
done.
like one of them. I promise you'll really like one of them.
Keep going.
All right, at number 6, Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson at number 6. They talked about how he was an elite group of players with Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons, Nick Bosa, and TJ Watt, with his PFF grade being up there with them. And then at number 1.
No. Read the last one.
Hutchinson's 110 total pressures during the regular season, ranked second among edge rushers.
Total pressures. Total pressures,
And
Neal.
then at number
Total pressures.
At number 1, Neal, you have Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell, number 1. They said he is on his way to becoming the best offensive lineman in the league. He is the best offensive lineman in the league.
Stop playing.
Yeah, but Trevor Lawrence was ahead of C.J. Stroud and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Aiden Hutchinson. That one was kind of egregious.
We're done.
Penei Sewell was number 1.
Over.
You can come out now.
Huh?
Penei Sewell was number 1.
Yeah.
That's the one I thought you'd like.
Duh.
Duh.
Yeah.
He's number 1 offensive tackle in the game.
Yeah.
They said he's on his way to
No.
being that.
Yeah, they did say
He's trending.
on his way to being the best offensive lineman in the league.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he's
And number 3.
Trevor Lawrence.
Look, I'm a Trevor Lawrence apologist, and I think that's egregious.
He's a bum.
When are we done with Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
When are we done? I'll sit back. I'll wait.
To put him over C.J. Stroud is absolute insanity.
Absolutely criminal. Should never be
Yeah.
done. CJ Stroud is a top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
When are we done with Trevor Lawrence?
Probably after this year.
Trevor Lawrence is a bum.
Their roster didn't get a lot better
I'm only
either.
giving him 1 more year, so probably after this year we can put it to bed.
All right, guys, here we go. From that, the Tiger stuff, into the Lions schedule. And we're going wall to wall. We'll take a look at everything, potential pitfalls. What game are you looking forward to the most? All of it. But the one that jumps off the page at me, week number 1, Sunday Night Football, NBC, streaming on Peacock, 8:20 p.m., Ford Field, the LA Rams in town. Boo them kids. And oh, by the way, someone asked in the chat, the shirts are coming soon. They're being mocked up today.
Damn right.
We will have them. Boo them kids shirt. I want you guys to buy them, wear them to Ford Field. But here's the statement, and immediately I got questions from people about this, D-Max, so let me just address this now. The Matt Stafford tribute, the thank you. Thank you for what?
Thank you.
Tribute for what?
Talk about it.
Let's just put this to bed right now. And I know we'll do this again the week of the game. There's no Matt Stafford tribute. Tribute for what? If you want to give somebody a tribute, how about for somebody that, I don't know, like was better than 6-60 against teams with winning records because that's what he was.
Yep.
Number one. Number two, what was your favorite Matt Stafford moment? Was it the first playoff loss, the second playoff loss, or the third playoff loss? Like, for how many times are you going to run out the video of him playing against the Browns or the Cowboys?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no tributes, D-Mac. There's none of that. He's just a regular guy that left town, and he's with another team. And you know what, too? We talked about the whole Justin Verlander thing.
Yeah.
There's an angle of that, too, with Stafford. Stafford's known more now as a Ram than he is as a Lion.
That's true. He won
He's
a Super Bowl
gone,
with him.
everybody, and I don't care. And look, I've told you before, I drive down Van Dyke on my way to Keyworth. I see the football field that he put his name on. Props. You did well for the community. You know where you didn't do well? On the field. I don't want any tributes. I don't want any videos. I don't want any graphics. Thank you, Matt. None of that shit, man. That's not. You think they would do that in Philly?
Hell no.
You think they would do that in Dallas?
No.
You think they would do that in San Francisco?
Absolutely not.
Be a real organization and be real fans, dude. No tributes. No thanks for everything, Matt. Thanks for what? I'd give a thank you Javi graphic before I gave you a thank you Stafford graphic.
Shit. He is not playing.
He might even retire a Ram.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't give a shit what he retires as. I don't care.
I don't care either, but I'm just saying to your point that, like, everyone wants to say that JV's going to be remembered as an Astro. Well, Stafford's going to be remembered as a Ram. He won there. So why do we care? He should be dead to us at this point.
Hold on.
Can we be realistic, though?
Yes.
Right? Which you're all true when you're in the combats of war. But the whole thing is, I guess the poll question is, it's not whether they should or they shouldn't. It's whether they will or they won't. And they will. Thank you for your contributions to the community.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna do something. Like I believe just sort of, and maybe it's I don't think it's a moment. I think they're gonna do it like before the game or something like that. But they're gonna. Does anybody believe they're not gonna do something?
They might do something, but
I think, like, I honestly believe they will, and it'll be something.
Hey, can we chat for that?
Yeah.
Will the Lions give Matt Stafford a tribute?
Because that's and more
I hope
of
not.
and the just will be more of the community stuff, not the football stuff.
I think they will. I think that
I honestly I always believe that they were waiting, and will do something like that. But everything you say, Neil, is absolutely right.
Woodward Sports chat thread.
Kids
All right.
are still gonna get booed.
Let's get into this then. KP, what did Barry Sanders win? When did Barry Sanders say, trade me, I want out, I quit here?
And Barry Sanders is also the best running back to ever lace him up. So let's not get that confused.
And he didn't say, hey, trade me.
Right.
He didn't do that.
I can see if Stafford was Tom Brady, then maybe you do give him the damn
He was
tribute.
done playing, and he retired, which KP is your right to do. As an employee, you'll work, and then one day you'll say, hey, I'm done working, I retire. And guess what? Nobody can tell you anything.
Yep.
So you can just stop that shit right away. We're putting that out. So I'm curious to know, do people think...
I just put it up.
There it is.
The streets.
God, I
It's up to
hope
y'all.
not. I definitely don't want to see that. You know what I want to see? And this is going to sound harsh. But you know what I want to see? I want to see him looking up at the stadium lights kind of cross-eyed again.
Oh, he will.
No, seriously.
That's what I want to see. He's in the way. Let me
Concussed.
reset this. Matt Stafford is in the way. So what do you do with things that are in the way? You got to put them down.
Yes, you do. And once again, like I said on the morning show, this is not an attack on him, the person. Him, the person, I feel like is a good person. He's done a lot for the community. He's done a lot for the city. All of that is great. But in one season, Jared Goff has accomplished more than Matt Stafford did in 12 years. And this is coming from somebody that supported Stafford, that fought for Stafford any chance I could. There's always caveats to every situation, but at this point, he is still an active competitor.
On another team that wants what you have.
That he won on. He left us and immediately got everything done that he couldn't get done here. Why are we honoring him at this point?
Preach, KG.
It makes no sense.
No, so here's the thing. Break down the why. As far as the organization from the top. Because I believe that's who Sheila is.
Yeah.
No, like
But my argument is
No, it's not. You're right.
yeah.
You're not wrong. You're all right in what you're saying. I'm just taking the tech. Okay, but what's gonna happen? Because does this organization and Sheila, or is Sheila more of the thank you for what you did in the community and being a Lion and stuff like this, nothing to do with the football, or is she more or less fuck you? You're not ours anymore. I don't see her as the owner that way. I see her more of the thank you for the community, as everybody's saying in the chat. Right now, if your owner was Jerry Jones or somebody else or calling the shots, and maybe Brad and Dan are going to say that to her, but it comes from her, whether it is or it is. I just think at this point right now being announced that they will do something. But I agree with all of you.
So my plan is you can do a video tribute for him after he's retired. Why do you need to do it while he's still a competitor? You got the Rams week 1 to open the season in prime time. That's not an appropriate.
So I guess you should be talk to Sheila, like, and address Sheila with this, because I think this is coming. The tribute would be coming from the top, not coming from the locker room or the social media or whatever. It's right.
That's true.
So Kenny, speak right to Sheila right now.
Do it after he's retired, Sheila. It's a perfect time to do it.
Galloping like 6. This would be like Abe Lincoln paying tribute to Robert E. Lee.
Well, here, damn. No, I want to take it one step deeper, right? Because what did we hear? What have I been saying? Because the quote coming out of the owner is Super Bowl or bust. So if you have the Super Bowl or bust mentality, are you fuck everybody else? Yeah. Fuck this guy. I don't give a shit. Do you want to see that? Absolutely, we want to see it. Are we going to see it? I don't know if she's got that level. Maybe now she has the dog in her like that. That's what we're talking about. That's the understanding. Does she understand that concept?
And then it's just all of the antics.
And that'll be savage if she did.
No, it would. But when you add in the fact that he's left, he's gone now, and all of the antics that have taken place between that last playoff game and now, we had him not even acknowledging the fans or the city really in the press conference.
Except to say that we booed his kids.
Yeah, exactly. The boo the kids thing. We had the LA Rams video a month ago where he's kind of like, I wanted to cut their throat out. Like, he's showing you at every turn kind of his true colors at this point. Why do we need to honor him?
Because we're being soft. You want the answer? Because we're being soft right now.
No, so are we being soft? Right? So the killer be killed mentality is no tribute. It's fuck you. And they come out and they hear all of us talking about this or whatever, and somebody comes out with a statement and says, oh, there'll be no tribute.
Yeah, the Rams schedule.
That's what we need to hear from the media, right? Like, or Dan can't, right? Like, whatever, like this, when we go, oh, fucking right, we're in it. Right, so I want to hear that.
They keep taking shots. The Rams schedule release video, they put staff in front of Ford Field. It's Stafford Field.
So hopefully, like, good.
Like, good. Looking up at the lights cross-eyed.
Okay, guys, now let's go to this. Keep stabbing our.
They keep poking.
So does Dan Campbell sit there and go, see what Sean McVay and the Rams are doing? Absolutely. Does he say this? Sheila comes out or somebody comes out, Brad or Dan, and says, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You stupid. There is no tribute.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Do it when he has to come back to Detroit after he's retired. He's done too much here. Don't do it now.
Steve O'Baby. So, Neal, you think Jared Goff should get a tribute video if the Lions were playing at the Rams as well? Well, when they played out there, I don't think they did a tribute video for Goff, did they?
No, they didn't. Weird. I'm pretty sure they didn't. And the man got to a Super Bowl with it.
Like that's.
Well, then you should take that into consideration and come out and say, fuck you.
But, hey, so we've been talking about the Lions, right? And the additions to the cornerback room. But the talk is starting, Spenny. Mm-hmm. The national pundits, D-Mac, are chiming in. Ooh. I don't need your thoughts on Colin Cowherd. I don't need that, all right? I'm not here for that. However, I am here for the discussion that follows because you guys know where I am with this. We have to get comfortable with certain things. And being good is one of those things that we have to get comfortable with. Being viewed as good. Did you catch what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Detroit Lions, Spenny?
He put him in pretty high hopes.
This was the Colin Cowherd top 10 post-NFL draft rank. The Chargers being on that list is pretty laughable. But whatever. We move on. The Lions right now, D-Mac, third in his, I guess, NFL top 10 power rankings or what you want to see. The 49ers sixth, D-Mac. ... The Packers in front of the 49ers.
Whoa.
And you know what?
Whoa.
It's look
The
as
Rams
much as
in front of the 49ers.
the Rams in front of the 49ers. Now look, as much as I clown the Packers and stuff like that, they got my attention post-draft. They actually got my attention pre-draft. I wasn't familiar with their draft capital game. I had to apologize. But with all that being said, D-Mac, for me, we need to get comfortable with this now because the Super Bowl is real. The Super Bowl is the expectation. Not here, not just here, now but the 750,000 people at the NFL draft, but everywhere in America. And look, that got your attention, D-Mac.
No,
I can tell
it
you
got
perked
my
up
attention.
right there.
No, for a couple things that I already knew. What are we even talking about? NFC North is going to be the toughest, division or whatever else. You got 3 and 5. You got 2 teams, right? Obviously, the teams out of the AFC, 1 and 2, in Kansas City and Baltimore. Who's the first one that they're giving you respect to, right? And does San Francisco look at this disrespectfully? I think that, Colin Cowherd sort of is in the same mindset that we are here in Philadelphia. What the fuck's going on there? Honestly, any place without answers and stuff like this. Obviously, the respect that the Rams get, and I think that the Rams did the one thing that they needed to do in addressing their running back. They got, arguably, we know the kid around here, Blake Corum and stuff like this. So I like the way that it plays out. It's just facts, but the fact is that nationally you're looked at as the favorite.
There's nowhere to run and hide from this now, man. It's here.
Right. And it's sort of like, okay, but your owner, Sheila, stood up and fired the first shot and said, Super Bowl league, we're coming. Well, that's our expectation. So she's like, let's go. She started it. I mean, that's it. So and you know what? She's like Leonidas, 300, lead you into battle, right? And because you got everybody behind her. Players, fans, organization, they're all on the same page. They want the smoke, and they're ready for this is what they want. They wouldn't have asked it or said, look at the difference in the narrative coming out of Allen Park and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and then Steve Yzerman, right? The different how the build goes in different leagues. It's just time, and we got to lay another foundation, and now we're working on the first floor and the second floor. No, NFL, it's like, no, we're ready. This is us, our smoke, and especially because I have this experience of doing it to yourself. What do I mean by that? When they look at this offseason, whenever they're together, they knew what they let go in that San Francisco game. You look at it, what did I do? How can I be better? Because I did that to myself, right? They didn't do it to us. We did it to ourselves. And there's a power there, especially power in the group when the guys next to you are more important to you than you are to yourself.
And D-Mac backing it up to this. And I know that sometimes we always do come back to it. And I brought this up to you before, where you say, you look around the room and you say, we did it to ourselves. A referee didn't do this to us. Because I've always asked you about that, right? Fans blow refereeing way more out of proportion than players do.
Well, it's accountability, and it's sort of like, I don't know, maybe it's Gen X as a man being raised. Is that am I going to take responsibility or am I going to fucking fault blame?
Right.
Because if I don't want it to happen again or whatever, I got to look and clean, and what can I do better?
And that's always been an interesting dynamic to me because, I've been both. I'm a fan. I work for teams and travel with teams, so I've seen it play out the exact same way, even in, college basketball. And they're kids. Some of them are kids. They're 18 years old, and they're able to digest what happens. You don't see them throwing a fit and stuff like that. It's just, but that's part of the maturity, right? When you become a good team, that's the way you work. And I think at a fan base, there's a parallel for that with us. Last year when they won that playoff game, and that clip went viral of the guy crying, and I got emotional about it. We all did.
Because we haven't been there. It's new water. There's something that in this world right now that's so divisive. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that we all, no matter what age in this area, in this town,
no matter what your political affiliation,
unless you're 70 plus,
your Michigan State affiliation,
doesn't matter. Everybody forget about it. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You could have the Saturday before, you could have the rivalry, which you did. You have the rivalry game, and it's FU and FU and FU
Right.
and FU, and the next day on Sunday, we're all drinking together and eating together and cheering on the Lions.
No, and that's, but I think the point of the story is this: as a fan base, D-Mac, we have to kind of take on that identity, like crying at the playoff games and stuff like that. And I did it, like I'm with you, but not anymore, because I'm working on me. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the one. Like, why can't we have that? Like, togetherness. Now it's the expectations. We're not going to be there because we don't have to cry because it's not that first emotional thing. You're in it now.
And that's what I'm driving at, D-Mac. Like,
but I think we know that. I think that for the most part, as a Lions fan base, right, and new stuff, but we're getting acclimated to this. That this is the norm of what this organization produces to us, and we keep showing up, and I think we are understanding that patience a little bit now. Season's got to play itself out, and trust me, you go on tour or whatever like this, people are going to want heads to roll, but that's sports.
Greg Alspaugh, it's a hype. He says he's hype. So there's that out there in the chat as well, and certainly everybody is. But that's kind of my point. Like, and I see this around with other fan bases. And after the Thursday night game, when they beat the Chiefs to open the season, I just flipped on like Kansas City talk radio for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just because I wanted to get the gauge of of their fans who have been there, done that, got the T-shirts, got the hats, all of it. And like they weren't crying about, you know what I'm saying? Like they weren't crying about losing or anything like that because they know what it takes. I think my main statement is, as a fan, I know what it takes now.
And what did they do?
They won
Lost
the Super Bowl.
First game of the year and won the Super Bowl. Would you take that? All day.
All day long, man.
Right? But it's that mentality. It's that mentality. Now, granted, Kansas City, right? The Kansas City fan base, or you grew up there, you're sort of, it's more to the Red Wing fan base, right? How to act, and we've experienced success. So I love it. Right? But the one thing going back is the respect of, like, here, the Lions have finally shown up, and it's not the new kid on the block, and it's not a shiny new toy. They're here. You know, they just been hibernated. The Lions been hibernated for a long time.
Right, but they're here now, and
they're making noise, and everybody around, like, to your point when we started the segment, this ain't here hype. This is national hype by all these national pundits, and Colin Cowherd, whatever you think about him or not, just puts you on top of the NFC.
How does that make you feel?
I like it. I like it because I go back to, that's what they want. They want the smoke. They fucking picked the fight. The Lions are the ones that came out and said Super Bowl or bust. Their owner, I just said that. Let's go. That's the mentality. So you know what? Welcome to the club. Because that was our Red Wing mentality. Going to training camp and Stanley Cup, or else everything else sucked. Like, or else you lost. Bad year.
Are we prepared for that as fans?
No, because it's going to be new too.
Okay.
But we'll learn, because this ain't a one and done. This organization from the top,
built to last. Built to be here.
Dude, and that's why Sheila, God damn it, she should have flowers every week. Because it's her, right? Brad Holmes, yes, is the greatest hire, whatever like this. But it's the person that finally said enough's enough. Enough is enough, and then acted on it.
Woodward Sports chat thread, Dad with Tourette's, all in all caps. All 4 NFC North teams got better. I really wish people would accept this. Packers had elite free agent class, very good draft class, it appears, and had a good team last year. And Dad with Tourette's, like, yeah, I agree with you on that. 100% I do. One of the NFC North teams, though, their quarterback draft decision will let them down. Guaranteed. I don't, you can project. I have more questions about J.J. McCarthy, I guess, than most, because I'm a, quote, hater. But with all that being said, the math says one of them's going to be a bust. It just does. So, no, I agree with you. I'm not scared of them per se, but they did. And it sucks, because I wanted Packer fans to have to deal with the pain just for a couple of years. You know? I just want them to deal with the pain for a couple of years.
They are going to have to deal with the pain of the Lions for the next 2 or 3 years for sure.
No, absolutely. Woodward Sports chat thread. And you can jump in there and get your thoughts out there. GW the Kid, Lions lost games and people were panicking and ready to fire the coaches, SMH. And that, GW Kid, that was my point, I guess, in all this. They didn't lose back-to-back games last year. The 49ers lost 3 in a row at one point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think for our own, wellness, I think we got to have a little bit thicker skin this year going in. Because, again, you go to math. Math suggests they will lose back-to-back games at some point this year. So, like, are we going to be able to mentally withstand that as a fan base?
Because we haven't done that in the last year or so, right? We didn't lose back.
That's my only question.
All the money on the opening day. We got to win it.